And in this video, we're gonna be walking you through several of the neighborhoods in Staten Island, New York. So if you're thinking about making a move and not sure exactly where you wanna end up, then you're gonna wanna stick around because for this video, I'm gonna walk you through several neighborhoods as a step-by-step, but we won't spend too much time on each one because this is gonna be a very high level and very quick overview of everything inside the island here in Staten Island, so that when you get a better understanding, and then if you stick around till the end, I will share a market report with you that says everything that's going on in the market right now. So let's get into it. Hey, if you're new to this channel and you want to know everything there is to know about eating, sleeping, working, playing, the good, the bad of living in Staten Island, New York, then tap that button and subscribe below so you can be the first one to know about the current market in Staten Island. My name's Allison Moreau, and my team and I are getting calls, emails, text messages every single day from people just like you looking to make a move into Staten Island. And we absolutely love it. So whether you're looking to move in 9 days or 90 days, just be sure to give us a call, send us a text, shoot us an email, and we'll be happy to help you make your move to Staten Island as smooth as possible. So as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I'm gonna walk you through several neighborhoods in the Staten Island area so that way you can get a better idea of the proximity to New York City, to New Jersey, where the transportation is, all the features, benefits of all the areas, where's the beach, where's the lake, where's the buses, where's everything. So you can get a high level, quick overview of all things Staten Island. And if there's an area that you wanna get further into, just send me an email, give me a call, and I'll be more than happy to help you guys out with everything. So with that being said, let's jump into the computer. All right, so here we are. Here is Staten Island, New York. As a whole, the city runs 13.9 miles long. And it's just shy of 500,000 people. I believe it's 493,000 people that live on Staten Island alone. Let's see. All right, so we're gonna do, like I said from the beginning, we're gonna do an overview of the whole island, all the transportation, all that stuff. So let's start with the bridges. There are 4 bridges. Wherever this yellow is, and you see it crossing the blue, that's a bridge. So let's start with the only one that connects to Brooklyn. That is the Verrazano's Narrows Bridge. This bridge connects from Staten Island to Brooklyn, and it's the only way to do it. Besides going on a ferry, but the only way to get from directly Staten Island to Brooklyn is the Verrazano's Bridge. The next one would be the Bayonne Bridge. And the Bayonne Bridge connects you from Staten Island to New Jersey from the 440. The 440 runs the island as well. Then you have right over here, the Goethals Bridge. The Goethals Bridge connects Staten Island with Elizabeth, providing access to the New Jersey Turnpike, which is also part of the I-278. And that's right over here. And then you have down here, the Outer Bridge crossing, which to me personally, I think that's the most popular bridge besides the Verrazano. So let's say the most popular going into New Jersey, maybe because I cross it every day, but this one leaves you right in Perth Amboy, which this part of New Jersey is a lot more well-known by Staten Islanders, this part, and then going down south, down this way. That's where a lot of people move. So as you see, this 440 right here, right from South Shore all the way to Jersey. So let's go back to Staten Island. Now, I don't know if I said this in the beginning, so I don't remember if I did say this in the beginning, but Staten Island's broken down to 3 sections, right about here and right about here. So you have the South Shore of Staten Island, which is the closest to New Jersey, right here. You have Mid-Island, and then you have the North Shore. North Shore is City, Brooklyn. Mid-Island is exactly that, Mid-Island. You can get from one side to the other, same amount of time. So let's get rid of this. Now let's talk expressways and highways. See all of this yellow going through? There are 4 main intersections in Staten Island. First, you have the Interstate 278, which is right here. And that is the main highway running east to west across the islands. It connects you to Brooklyn via the Verrazano's Narrows Bridge, and then Jersey on the Gotham Bridges side. So this runs directly through the islands. So basically, where that North Shore line was, that's right over here, 278. Then you have the Korean War, which is right over here. This is the only highway in Staten Island that does not run through the entire island. It stops right in the South Shore. So it only services the South Shore area coming in from New Jersey. Then you have the West Shore Expressway, which is the 440 right here. This runs through the entire islands, all the way from Jersey, all the way to either you can go to the Bayonne, you can go to the Gotham Bridge, or you can go into Brooklyn. So you have that 440 for the entire islands. Then you have over here the Dr. Martin Luther King's Expressway. That's right about here. Where are we? Right around here. And those are your 4 highways in Staten Island. Now let's talk public transportation. Public transportation. 1, let's go to the North Shore, right over here. The North Shore has a ferry, and the ferry is free, and it brings everybody from the ferry terminal to the city, which is super cool. It runs 24 hours and it's free. It's a huge perk that we have in Staten Island. So you have one ferry going from St. George to the financial district in the city. Now, what else do we have? We have MTA buses throughout the entire island. We have local and express, so they go into the city, and there's buses that stay local. We also have, besides that, there is only one train. So the train does not leave the island. Right here, you see where these little train guys are? That is the railroad. That railroad goes from right here, Bay Street. So if you live near, people who want to live near the train stations for work purposes, they can jump on that train, take that train to St. George, and then they take the free ferry over, and that's how they transport to work every day, right? So, but you have to live on this side of the island to get that train. Unless you want to take a bus to the train, then that's a whole nother thing. But if you want to live conveniently, walking distance anywhere like that, you're going to want to live in any one of these areas, right along this line. And it does run through the entire island. So here we now are in Tottenville. So again, you have one train, it stays on the islands. Another big question I get asked a lot is there a way to go from Jersey to Staten Island without a car? No, there is not. There is no way to get to New Jersey from Staten Island. Nope, no way to get from Staten Island to New Jersey without taking one of these bridges, which you have to drive on them, or, have somebody drive you. There are no buses unless it's an express bus that you're paying, like to drive to Atlantic City from a stop in Staten Island, which that's not per transportation MTA. That's, private. There is no trains, there is no buses, there is no airports on Staten Island. So it's solely your one train going through and from the islands, your local and express buses, and then your ferry over here, and then your 4 highways. Those are all of your main transportations from Staten Island. So now that we got the transportation part covered, because those are your main reasons, like for where you want to be on the island. So for instance, say you work in the city and you don't want to be any more than, like you want to be close to transportation. You want to go around here, because Highland Boulevard, there is buses right here that take you from here all the way to the city, or Brooklyn, then to the city, and then back. So that's one route. Then you have another bus on Amboy Road, Richmond Avenue. In the link below, I'm going to link all of the transportation information, so you guys will be able to see like the routes and the times and all of that fun stuff. So that's some pretty good information, especially for people who want to move in that are being that have to work into the city. So now let's break down the sections. Let's do that. Let's start with the North Shore of Staten Island. So the North Shore, remember the North Shore right here is where the ferry is. So North Shore is most popular for, there's a lot of old school buildings, but they are building it up a lot. Like right here, this is brand new. They have Empire Outlets all along the base, right? So all along the base of Bay Street. Bay Street? Yeah, kinda, not really. But that's your St. George area. You have the ferry terminal here. The Staten Island Ferry Hawks, right over here. You have the St. George Theater. You have the National Lighthouse Museum. You have the Alice Austin House if it wants to pop up over here. That's a very big attraction in the North Shore as well. You also have the Botanical Gardens, Snug Harbor right here. Huge main attraction, huge, right here. Then you have your schools, your Catholic schools, your private schools, your public schools, all around here as well. Usually what happens if you're zoned, if you live in the area, you go to that public school until you hit high school. Once you hit high school, you can go wherever you want on the islands. But usually you go to your zone schools, because why would you travel across the islands? But yes, this is your St. George area. This is your North Shore. So this Richmond University Medical Center, there are 3 hospitals on Staten Island. Let me zoom this out. 3 hospitals. That was one of them on the North Shore. I'm pointing to the screen like you can see it, but you cannot. So let me circle that for you. This is your one hospital on the North Shore of Staten Island. Then you have 2 other hospitals. One hospital, Staten Island University Hospital, North Shore, right here. And then you have the Staten Island University Hospital on the South Shore, which is right over here. If it wants to pop up, right here. Right here. Then, so those are your three hospitals on Staten Island. Sorry, I'm getting away with myself because I'm seeing all of these restaurants that I can't wait to tell you about because they're so good. So let's just go back to the North Shore. So here we are, back at the North Shore. Oops, I zoomed out too much. So North Shore, Clove Lakes Park. So also Staten Island is known for the borough of parks, right? Look at all this greenery. These are all parks. All of this is park. Parks, trees, hiking trails, bikes. There's a lot of huge parks. Great Hills Parks. Lotterette right here. It's a golf. They play a lot of golf there in this park. You have golf here, the Grand Oaks Country Club. Great Hills Park. This is one of my favorite parks because it's absolutely beautiful. And also because the bottom of Great Hills, they have a marina. So you have all your boat stocks there. You have a marina, you have a tiki bar. I don't know, I love boats and I love that kind of feel. So you have all of that right here. See, Marina Cafe, my fave. All right, so let's go back up. I don't want to get sidetracked. All right, you have your beach right here. This is your beach. So this beach runs through the North Shore. This runs through the whole island actually. But the main part of the beach where you have your boardwalk is right around here. That's your North Shore, bordering up to that mid-island area. That's all right here. So here's your boardwalk. There's a lot of people. You run on the boardwalk, walk. They have ice cream stands. They have, they do like yoga on the beach. All the kids go to the beach. They have lifeguards. The beaches are open. I know Staten Island has a bad rap for the beaches, but the beaches are packed all the time. Like I used to live in Dungan Hills, where I used to live right over here, and I would go walk on the boardwalk almost every single day, and there were always people on the beach. So that's pretty cool. You have Royal Crown Bakery. This Royal Crown Bakery is a very famous bakery on Staten Island. They have the best balsamic vinaigrette dressing. Actually, all of their food, but balsamic dressing is amazing. All right, so now let's go back up. So that's your North Shore section. And again, I'm going to make a video of the North, South, and Mid-Island and just focus on those areas and walk through all of the neighborhoods. But for the point of this video, I just want to give you a intensive overview. So now, boom, we have your Mid-Island area, which is around, let's see, where are we? You're looking about this section right here. This is kind of your mid-island area, right around here. Although Great Hills and Eltingville are right, Eltingville is South Shore. Great Hills, it's a flip up, right? I consider it South Shore, but a lot of people think it's mid-island. They're right next to each other. They are neighborhood neighbors, so that's, you know, that could go either way. But I personally think it's the South Shore. So let's get out of this. So your mid-island area. Your mid-island area has everything in it. It has, some parts of it has the train. Some parts of it have, well, they all have buses, but some have the train. You have access to the beach here. You can go through the whole island. Mid-island has your College of Staten Island. It has your huge shopping centers. It has your mall. There's only one mall on Staten Island, and that is in New Springsville, in the mid-island section. So that is right here. This whole yellow area is the Staten Island Mall. And this map has been updated recently because this Krispy Kreme right here is brand new. Like, it's less than a year old. So this whole section, this is the mall, and then you have like more shopping plazas here. So that's your mid-island section. This is that golf course I was showing you about. See how much green, there is so much greenery in Staten Island. It's unbelievable. And you would never think for the amount of people, but all of this is green. All of this, which is pretty cool. And most of it is in that mid-island and North Shore section, as you can see. I'm sorry, South Shore section, as you can see. All right, so let's go back to the top. So again, mid-island, when you come off the Goethals Bridge, that gets you into the North Shore area, and then you go into the mid-island section, depending on if you go to the 440 or the 278. So they do run through both. The only part of the island that there is no expressway or highway is right over here. So you have that bottom mid-island section. Let's make a circle so you know exactly what I'm talking about. That has no easier access to, well, they have access obviously, but everybody here relies on the train and then your buses. Wherever you see these white, those like thicker white lines, I went over the map before, those are your main roads. All of your main roads have buses on them. Buses meaning local and or express buses, which again, super important, especially for transportation purposes. Now let's clear that map up. All right. So you have a lot of plazas right here. The bottom of the mid-island also has shopping plazas. Again, you have a lot of food stores, restaurants. Highland Boulevard from the North Shore all the way down to the South Shore. Actually, it probably stops about right around here. So once you're hitting a little past that South Shore, that's where all the food stores kind of stop. It's more greenery, a lot of high-end homes down here. You have your water, and then back here is where there's a lot of more stores, right? But all of this Highland Boulevard, you're gonna find restaurants, shops, nail salons, hair salons. It's basically one big strip of all different kinds of stores, and it runs the whole island. So you do have those buses, again, that go through the whole Highland Boulevard, which is pretty nice. So that pretty much sums up your overview of the mid-island section. Your beaches are down here. You have your transportation, parks and greenbelt, shopping, the malls in the middle of the mid-island section where my mouse is. And then back here, you have your expressways, your highways that take you to 3 parts of Jersey and Brooklyn. So that pretty much, yeah, that sums up the overview of the mid-island section. Now let's roll this map out and go to the South Shore of the last and final section, the South Shore of Staten Island. So we're gonna actually use Great Hills as part of the South Shore because there's a couple people that say it's mid-island. It's a little bit of a controversial subject, but I believe it is the South Shore So we are going to include that in this conversation. So South Shore goes from Tottenville to Great Hills. This is your South Shore area. A lot of it borders Jersey. You have beaches on both sides. And that Great Hills Park, that big park I was telling you, is right over here. So let's get out of that. Let's start with your transportation in the South Shore area. So you do have that Highland Boulevard, which, as you see, runs the entire South Shore. So if you don't drive, or you have to go to the city for work, you do have the option of buses on the South Shore. Although I will tell you that if you are living in Tottenville and working in Brooklyn, you are going to have a much longer commute because of that rush hour traffic every day. So a lot of people that come in or want to move to Staten Island that need to be a certain amount of time or distance from the city of Brooklyn, their cutoff point is usually, not everybody, but for the most part, their cutoff point is usually right around here. So let's say Arden Avenue is the cutoff point, and that's a little far. A couple of years ago, then this just expanded. A couple of years ago, it was like Great Hills, Oakwood, New York, so that mid-island section. Because again, South Shore is the opposite side of the islands. But listen, that's okay. If people want to travel, that's, on them. I would prefer not to, but that's to each his own, right? But I do want to tell you that there is traffic every morning right over here on Highland, going and coming, Richmond Road and Highland. So I'm not going to lie to you and tell you there's no traffic, because there definitely is, as I'm sure there is everywhere else, right? So let's get back to transportation. You see right here, we are on the South Shore, and you do have your train. That again goes from Tottenville to the other side of the islands, but you do have that transportation on the South Shore. Now, which highways do you have? You have that private, let's call it private highway, the Korean War vet, that you can go from the outer bridge, and it basically serves the South Shore area. So if you live in any one of these areas down here below the Korean War vet, you're going to take the Korean War, get off at the last exit, and then drive to your house. If you live at the top of the South Shore area, most likely you're going to take the 440. Again, it's preference, it's where you're going to go. If you're getting on the outer bridge, coming back into Staten Island and have to go to Brooklyn, most likely you're going to take the 440 down around into Brooklyn. Again, that's a preference, but you do have those viable options, which are nice to have. Eltingville, which I don't think I mentioned it already. If I did, I apologize. In Eltingville, there's a bus depot with a park and ride that a lot of people park their their cars and stuff there, and they go to work, whether it's, via local express bus or city bus. Usually the city bus. The other place that people do park their cars to go into the city, which I forgot to mention to you, was the North Shore. That North Shore Mid-Island section by the beach on Father Cap. All those huge parking lots basically are parking rides. You park your car, you jump in the express bus, you go into the city to work, and then when you come home, the bus lets you off over here, and you get in your car and you drive home. So if I forgot to mention that, I do apologize. That is another kind of park and ride. So back to the South Shore. South Shore has a lot of different style homes. You have a lot of luxury homes. As you do the whole island, there are sporadic spots of them throughout, but there are a lot on the South Shore. There's a section down here called Nicolosi Drive, which is gorgeous, gorgeous homes. There's actually a lot of sections, but we're going to get through that in another video when we focus solely on the certain parts of the islands. When we focus on the certain parts of the islands, meaning the South Shore video, the North Shore video, the Mid-Island video, because we can't do this all in one video. But yep, so let's go with the conference houses here. Conference houses at the edge of the South Shore in Tottenville. Then up here, you have your police department. You have your Angelinas, which they have great food there. I've been there a bunch of times. A lot of people have. It's a very well-known spot on the islands. You have your IS 34, which is Tottenville High School, Tottenville area. Your South Shore Little League is here. You have a lot, as you see, parks. There's a lot of parks. Remember, all the greenery is all parks. And you have your bagel stores. You have your YMCA. you have a lot of things going on the South Shore. There's a lot of things going on each section of the island. The word just happens to be in the South Shore. So let's go down Highland. Let's see. We have, again, your greeneries here. South Shore Little League. You have a South Shore Swim Club, which is nice. There is a array of co-ops and condos in this section over here. All right, so now that we went over all of that, let me show you guys some parks on the South Shore area. Let's start with Great Hills. The Great Hills Park is at the bottom of Great Hills, next to the Marina Cafe. It is a little over 500 acres of green land. It is absolutely gorgeous. If you want to check out a couple other videos of the park on my YouTube page. There's a playground. You have like the green life, and then you have beach life, because it's right over here. You have off the beach, and then you have trails and forests and all of that here. So the park is absolutely huge. Then if you go to, let's pick Bloomingdale Park. Bloomingdale Park is a park off the service road right here in the South Shore. A lot of playgrounds in the park. There's always a bunch of kids there, a lot of families. It's a great time. It is a main attraction in the South Shore. A lot of people go to that park. Then we have Wolf Pond Park over here. So what's nice about Wolf's Pond Park is it's on two sections, right? It's below Highland and above Highland. There's a lot going on below Highland, not much going on above, but the bottom there's a hockey ring, there's basketball, tennis, there's several different playgrounds. You have the ability to actually be on the beach, and then on this part, and then over here, you have the ability to have all that greenery, which is really nice. Park is absolutely huge. Last time I was there, the video is actually going up for this in probably 2 weeks. Last time I was there, the park, there was horses. It was really cool. There was horses. People are barbecuing. There's grills out there. A lot of birthday parties. It's a really, really nice park. Then you have the Conference House Park. This Conference House Park is located at the southernmost tip of Staten Island. Here, right here, that's the actual Conference House. This park has been steeped in history, hosting the only pre-revolutionary war manor house still surviving in New York City. That is huge. And we have it in Staten Island. So yeah, those are a couple parks on the South Shore area. Then you have your restaurants, Angelina's, DeLuca's, and both of them, wonderful restaurants, really good. So in Highland Boulevard on the South Shore, there is not a lot of shopping, right? On the Mid-Islands and the North Shore, Highland Boulevard is packed on both sides with shopping and nail salons, hair, all of that stuff, right? That's your main strip, but not really on the South Shore at the end. Now you're going to come to Amboy Road. Amboy Road is your main strip for Amboy and Arthur Kill Road. These two are your main strips for all restaurants. Look, Cracker Barrel, Farm Friend Frog, Manja. Where did we go? There we go. Amboy, Manja, Mikey's Bagels, DeLuca's, food markets, all over here. Look at all of these stores. So on the South Shore, your main, again, is not Highland Boulevard. It's going to be up more. Over here, look at all of these stores. So between Arthur Kill Road and Amboy Road, those are going to be your main strips on the South Shore. Page Avenue is also a main road you can get from the top to the bottom. But all of your shopping is going to be towards the top of the South Shore area, right here. So yeah, we have your Wendy's. So yeah, that is an overview of the South Shore area. Did we do the schools? I don't know if we did the schools, but there are public schools, private schools, Tottenville High School. There is St. Joseph's down here, right here. A lot of schools. There is a South Shore Swimming Club, which I believe we looked at a little earlier. But yeah, this is your overview of the Staten Island. Let's blow it out. Of the amazing Staten Island right here. And I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. Again, I will, let's jump out of this and back to the screen. Well, there you have it, the entire rundown of the map of Staten Island. I hope you guys learned something. Please reach out in the comments if you have any questions or you want to learn about anything else on the island. In the next couple videos, I'm going to be breaking down that north, south, and mid-island section for you guys and run through all of the areas. And again, my name is Allison. My team and I cannot wait to help you guys, whether you're looking to move in 9 days or 90 days. Feel free to call, reach out, shoot us an email, and don't forget to like and follow for Living in Staten Island. See you in the next videos.